earlier this week, I posted a blog post regarding charitable organizations and 501c3s. I thought it would be great to talk to an actual new charitable organization. So Katy Morgan-Davies of our Operation Stardust Incorporated so graciously agreed to do this. So first question I have, Katy, is what is Operation Stardust and what is its mission?
So Operation Stardust exists to provide greeting cards and other opportunities to people with terminal illnesses so that they can leave legacy notes to their loved ones after they pass.
Now, when you were coming up with this plan, it could have been a for-profit or a not-for-profit. What made you decide this was a non-profit entity rather than for-profit?
Really the mission. You know, we exist to provide something to people in need, and the thought of making it a for-profit venture just didn't sit very well. And I think that that's sort of the key for me to whether or not something's a non-profit is there a mission and is there a purpose behind it that's charitable?
Sure. So when you were looking at being a charitable thing, one of the things that you have to look at is how donations are brought in. Now, was it important to you that those donations be able to be written off by the donators?
Yes. Yeah, that was always something that's been important to me. You know, as someone who has used that as a vehicle for you know, working within the tax law and helping ourselves out as a family, and also just for having that philanthropic base, it is important to me that you can write that off.
Now, had you heard the term 501c3 prior to starting this?
Yes. In fact, I've worked within 501c3s before. I have just never started one myself.
Did you know that 501c3 was completely ruled and regulated by the IRS?
No. See, this is where things got fuzzy. I knew some stuff and I knew enough to kind of have an idea of where to go, but I just didn't know all of the ins and outs.
Now, once you started looking at those ins and outs, you found out that the IRS has only certain types of organizations that can be a 501c3. Did you have an issue trying to figure out, did you fit into those exact purposes, or was it pretty clear and cut and dry for you?
So there were two real issues that I ran into. The first was, did we fall into you know, the category, and we did, but then it was coming up with the subcategories within that, and that is where suddenly things got very, very confusing. You know, what was our purpose? And like, I know what our purpose is, but it has to fit into these neat little boxes that are provided.
So when you were having these issues trying to figure out those subcategories and just a lot of the other things that come along with starting up, what did you find were some of the important resources, and where did you go to find some of those answers?
Well, I came to you. You know, obviously, I'm trained as an attorney, and I have some idea as to where to look to do some of the self-help stuff, but I'm also acutely aware of how big the pitfalls can be if you happen to fall into one, and it seems to be so easy to do when you're just trying to do the best that you can on limited resources. And it became very clear very quickly that if I wanted to avoid that, the immediate thing to do was to contact someone who actually knew what they were doing.
So what were some of the other, did you have other resources that you found helpful, or was it mostly being able to call a lawyer and say, hey, I have these questions?
Yeah, it was really being able to call you. I did some, you know, there are a bunch of different online services that I looked at first. I mean, I did look at the IRS website at first, then I started looking at people's 990s on the internet just to see if there were any clues in there, just to try and do this myself. But it just became incredibly apparent that Erin Ogden was going to get a call.
So is there any other advice that you would give to someone who is either starting a nonprofit or even one that is established as to what to do to go forward and how to be a good 501c3?
Yeah, so in the first instance, it would be do it. I'd been thinking about this for a little while, and it was some of these preemptive pieces that needed to happen that was really a roadblock for me getting started. And it took speaking to you to show me that these were not insurmountable, and that, you know, people know what they're doing and that could step in and help us, and that would make life so much easier. And I'm so glad that we've done it, because this has moved a lot quicker than I ever dreamed that it could. And for me, you know, running a 501c3 is about being true to your mission and doing something that means something to you. And if you have good people on your board, if you have good people as advisors, if you have just good people in your life that will help you out and guide you in the right way, then that's really important. And trusted counsel is incredibly important. So I'm very grateful to you for what you've done for us.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes. And if you're interested in Operation Stardust, you can find them at www.operationstardust.com or .org or on Facebook. So thanks again, Katie.
Thank you.
We'll see how these go.